high mountains, valleys, all sorts of stuff like that. Along with the ecological diversity, the people of Africa have incredible cultural diversity. And today our presentation is going to attempt to bring some of that to you. So all of our different groups are going to present one aspect of African culture and try to show you what makes it so diverse, so rich, and so beautiful.
This right here is the Maghreb zone of Africa. It is the northernmost zone, as you can see. In Arabic, it literally means place of sunset. It lies in between the Mediterranean and the Atlas Mountains, and because of that, there are very diverse climates. More towards the south, there are fewer animals because of the arid climate, and in the north, there are Mediterranean forests and much more animal life. This is the Sahara. It's the largest desert in the world. It's very arid, and it's the kind of desert that you typically think of with sand dunes and a few oases here and there. But due to its extreme aridness, there's very little life. But there are camels going across with the nomads as they do their trans-Saharan.
And this is the Sahel region, and it goes all the way from the Atlantic Ocean to the Red Sea, and it's mainly grasslands and savannas, and despite the rainy season, it's mostly too dry to support life, except for human life, except for a few nomadic tribes. And to the south is the equatorial region.
This little light green patch right here is known as the Guinea region. It goes from the small country right here, Guinea Faso, to equatorial Guinea because it runs along the equator. It's comprised of about 11 countries. It's a tropical climate, but there are rainforests there, and there are lots of chimpanzees and monkeys. A lot of diversity. It is one of the most densely populated areas of Africa, and it includes the Nigerian country, which has over 150 million people, and it's the most populous country in Africa, and the 8th most populous country in the world. Farther down is the Congo Basin. This is the second largest rainforest in the world. It's very, very diverse and extremely remote. Not much is known about it. In fact, there are parts of the Congo where we know more about the surface of the moon than the Congo. It's so remote that much of it has not been explored. It has one of the longest rivers in the world, the Congo River, which wraps around and ends up dumping all sediment into the Guinea region. And inside the Congo, there are many gorillas. It's the largest lowland gorilla population in the world. It has the okapi, which is the only living relative of the giraffe, which wasn't discovered until 50 years ago. And it is also home to the pygmy people, which are the smallest people in the world. They don't grow more than 4 feet 10 inches. And it's very remote.
So over here, this green and brown patch is known as the Great Rift Valley. It starts up here in Djibouti, all the way down here to the Zambezi River. And it's basically made up of mountain ranges that run this way and then a huge valley in between. It's often speculated that humankind originated in this area right here. And eventually, over millions of years, this whole section right here, the valley will split off, and this will become another island like Madagascar, which is somewhere out there. And it's a region that is really isolated in its ecology and its people. So you'll have mountains that go pretty much straight up, plunging down to valleys. And the animals that exist on the mountains are unable to live down in the valleys. Same with the people. The Maasai people live in a caldera that is completely isolated, and their entire world exists inside this crater. And for them to go outside is really to climb over the lip and see what's on the outside. Their entire society and culture exists within this very confined area. So that's really the essence of the Great Rift Valley.
This brown area is the Kalahari Desert. However, it isn't actually a desert. It's not a true desert because it's not as arid as the Sahara Desert. It's home to a lot more life. It's just more moist in general. And it's home to the Bushmen.
darkest thing about Africa is our ignorance of it.
Ife opens his eyes to a new day. He opens his eyes to the fire of his soul. He opens his eyes to see the sky. He opens his eyes to see his father's guns and the red sand that they lie on. From dictators and political rivalries to internal conflict, a splitting and joining over and over again, as if the same song had been put on repeat over until one would not be able to hear the song ever again. The Chadian boy knew none of it. All he wanted was his country as a whole. All he wanted was peace among the people. All he wanted was the guns to go out in people's hands. All he wanted was the mother, sister, father, brother back. And even before all this, all he wanted was
Dahanyan almari, kama de Afrika, tahakulum akiali yamu.
Uganda. Deprived from problems beyond his means, Okello is young. He is scared of the dark, as he clenches weapons longer than his bony legs. The purpose is blocked, as he is told it is for his survival. That it is for the greater good. Mickey Mouse can't make him laugh anymore. The vibrant coloring books of his youth don't strike a chord with him as they used to. He has become colder than any child should ever be. Family is forgotten. Songs are lost. The music is the gunfire. I wonder if we sleep.
Jokas de Dingo Afrika, was no antwoordt on kunde bandu.
A little girl, Beba, stands proud, hands clenched tightly around her mom's white skirt. They've been outside for days, waiting. Time passes slowly, and yet she is glad for the delay. Every minute she passes is a moment she has to live. Head bowed against the onslaught, of bullets coming from every direction. Sanity, only kept by the songs half sung, half sung. Women of Liberia, unite! The love of liberty has brought us here.
Jangota kes kuhusu Afrika, dima imekuwa ujinga wetu wa hayo. War, that is the never-ending swirl of greed. War, that is the entwining of human emotions. War, that is the aftermath of begging of people. The cycle of the never-ending walls. Blood runs cold, cohorts lie on the ground that nobody owns. Land that wasn't made for men. Land that wasn't meant for one person. Even water, even food, even the worst living entity turns into slave, a mixture of unusual proportions. But I am living, I am alive, and I will fight. As my mother once said, hope is at the bottom of the jar, because to have hope, one must not only reach to grab it, but believe and wish that it is there in the first place.
See on these people are over there, the first three, they have the Sermon tribe, and they're used for like ceremonies, like weddings. And then we have these three, which is the Derma tribe, and they're also used for ceremonies like weddings and banquets and grass skirts are used for dancing, ceremonies, weddings, etc.
Many myths around the world relate to how animals got stripes, spots, different camouflages, and how they gained their assets, if you will, in terms of claws or tails. This one is taken from an African story. It's completely unique. I've never heard one like it, about how every animal got every skin. This is how the zebra got his stripes.
Once, long ago, animals came in all shapes and sizes. However, they were also all white. Leopards had no spots, and wolves had no horns, and lions had no manes. The goddess, taking pity, opened the cave, and inside was all the decoration the world of animals would need. The animals themselves soon learned of this cave and raced to it, trying to get the best clothing for themselves. All except the zebra. Free from her predators and competitors, she ate as much grass as she could and started to slowly graze away. As the zebra came closer and closer to the cave, she started seeing beautifully appareled animals traveling back home. The animals warned her that if she did not hurry, she would be left with nothing but grass clothes. The zebra did not listen. She continued to slowly lead her way to the cave, becoming faster and faster. Finally, the last little route, the zebra reached the cave. Unfortunately, all that was left was a small black cover made smaller by the zebra's back. Nevertheless, the zebra squeezed it and waddled out of the cave. As it happened, there was a particularly succulent patch of grass right outside, and the zebra just couldn't resist. So she bent and grip, 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 grip. Zebra's trunk out with grip into myriad of zigzag stripes. Stripes that today are still worn by all
Okay, so our group wanted to represent Africa's food, but since Africa is so large and has so many countries, we decided just to choose 3 to represent. So we have people that researched Moroccan food, and Nigerian food, and Ethiopian food. And we researched like the main food staples from each country, and then kind of like played around with making different recipes for those specific countries.
When we were working with Nigerian food, we really wanted to keep it extremely authentic and using visibilities every day. Nigerian food diet is pretty wanted to make puff puffs, which are fried dough balls, which you can see out front. And they use those on special occasions, such as parties and stuff like that to organize special events. We also did fried plantains and sweet potatoes. And the fried plantains are eaten all the time. They almost rarely ever do anything with plantains besides fry them. They rarely grill them. And we want to represent that and keep it really close to what they actually did.
Moroccan food, a main staple is couscous. They use couscous for a lot of dishes. And Please join us in the verse.